Tragedy that has struck Kerala's Kasaragod district, where an accident unfolded late last night during temple celebrations. More than 150 people have been injured, including 10 who are in critical condition after a fireworks display went horribly wrong. Eyewitnesses reported a massive blast followed by thick smoke, creating panic as crowds gathered for the festival scrambled to safety. It is believed that a stray spark from one of the firecrackers accidentally landed in a nearby tin shed, igniting a storage of firecrackers and triggering a chain explosion. Visuals from the scene show how people were just stunned and injured as flames erupted from the shed within seconds. Local authorities have highlighted the lack of safety precautions, noting that firecrackers were stored dangerously close to the area where others were bursting them. The district collector has pointed out to a serious safety lapse, stating that the shed was not at the mandated distance of at least 100 meters from the display arena. Nileshwar police have now registered cases against 8 people following the fire accident at the temple. The accused listed in the FIR include Chandrasekhar, Bharat, A.V. Bhaskaran, Thamban, Chandran, Babu, Rajesh and Sasi. They are all members of the temple committee and residents of Nileshwar village. 2 members of the temple committee were previously detained as part of the investigation, and a preliminary report reveals that the firecrackers were ignited just 2 meters from the storehouse, leading to the disaster. With the temple's president and secretary now in custody, locals and officials are questioning why proper measures were not taken so that such a tragedy could have been averted altogether. Joining me on the broadcast, Anurag Naidu, and author Sanjay Sai, former IPS, Mithun Vijay Kumar, political analyst, and Vinita Hariharan, policy analyst, also with us on the broadcast. Let me begin this conversation with Mr. Sanjay Sai. Mr. Sai, as far as such cases are concerned, where celebrations are taking place on a temple premises, how exactly do the cops now go about this particular investigation? Because, like I said, celebrations were taking place. The temple and its authorities had, as per reports, planned a fireworks, sort of a display for the people who were there in the arena, and that somewhere has gone horribly wrong. So, how do the cops really go about this entire situation?
So what is important is how we have landed in this situation. Kerala has a dubious distinction of nearly 750 firecracker related incidents in last 2 decades, which primarily means that the temple authorities, revenue and police have been totally indifferent to whatever has been happening on the ground. As far as the present incident goes, where the deputy collector has been saying no permissions has been taken, I think the district authorities are aware of the fact that such a big festival happens in this particular temple. There would have been some permission from the police as well with regards to holding the festival and the nature of crowd management, and also there would be some police bandobast which would have been taking place out there. The distance between where the display was happening and this misfired firecracker landing into the storage area, whether that place is even worthy of storing. So that is a very pertinent question. And when without permission, this huge stock of firecrackers / explosives, if it is unregulated, has been transported, bought, stored and is being utilized. So we'll get into the investigation part of it. First and foremost, what is the culpability of the authorities? Or always it remains the culpability only of the temple management or whosoever is on the other side of the law. With regards to this particular investigation, the police will get into all these documents. And once you get into the documents, it is a very clear-cut, close and shut case, no permissions have been taken, and all sections of the BNS, which is primarily 288, 125A and other sections of the Explosive Act, which primarily deal with endangering human life. So that has been involved, that will get proven, the injury certificates will be there, and the scene of offence, which is primarily where this festival is happening, midnight. So all that will be put on in a very neat manner, and investigation will happen, and these people, their culpability will be proven, charge sheet will be placed in the court of law. That is broadly what will happen, but that does not mitigate the tragedy. What is important is that in cases of this nature, we cannot just get into the criminality part of it and fix the temple management once and for all, and they keep struggling with criminal cases, while all others who are a part of it goes forward.
Yes.
There will be elected representatives also there. Nobody is to be seen there today. These elected representatives would be a part, somewhere very close connection and collaboration with the temple authorities. There are lots of times the temple authorities push in a manner that the local revenue and the police authorities are not in a position to take any action. So broadly, and there was also an incident, there was an incident, accident, whatever you call it, in Kollam in 2016, and where more than 100 people died. What have we learned from that? And there are temples, you are talking of say 100 meters of distance between where firecrackers are displayed and where it is stored. When they are not taking any permission at all, where do you talk of safety protocols?
Yes.
There is no issue of safety protocols at all.
But Mrs. Sanjay Sahai, I want to understand from you from a very personal perspective. When you saw the video that is now doing the rounds online, and the way the explosion has taken place, that initially we can hear just for about 9 to 10 seconds some of the firecrackers going on, but then it just really explodes and there's this major fire that takes place. What does that really tell you about the nature of the material then that was stored? Because this doesn't really seem like a little bit of some, just a few firecrackers that the temple authorities had bought and stored just for some sort of a display as part of a celebration. The magnitude here also needs to be accounted for.
Mostly if you go by the reports which are coming by even by the bystanders and other people who have been close to the scene of offense, it was a firecracker display and a firecracker storage. Now firecracker storage there is a system by which it is done, and it was a localized area. There would be huge amount of firecrackers, and might be couple of those firecrackers which come with this huge mass display thing. Mass display firecrackers are broadly like your explosives itself. Might be they have been accumulated or stored in a very closed area, and that closed area also there will be no vent to anything. So that has led to this minor sort of explosion, which with the fire gives an idea that some huge bomb has exploded, and then the whole thing getting helter-skelter. So people started running helter-skelter, and that is how in that melee all these things happened. I still would not like to believe that there is something beyond firecrackers there. These were the firecrackers which are primarily used in huge public displays, and these firecrackers have good amount of chemicals in them, or you call it whatever the firecrackers is used for, all that material, and stored in a small area, and then heat getting into it, there is a likelihood of explosion, and I believe that this is the nature of explosion which has happened, and 1,500 people or 3,000 people in a very, very closed area created that sort of a situation wherein 150 people around have got injured, nearly 8 people or more have got 80% burn injuries, and they have been shifted into the hospitals nearby. Suffice to say that this is an endemic sort of a situation in Kerala, where tomorrow again the authorities will become indifferent. The temple authorities also, temple management will get on to their task. Till the time the next tragedy happens, it is a man-made tragedy in very simple terms.
Okay, I want to bring in Vinita Hariharan into the conversation. Vinita Hariharan, I want to understand from you, as far as the government authorities then are concerned, what is it or how is it that they're now trying to explain what has gone wrong? Because as Mrs. Sanjay Sai also pointed out, it's not just the temple authorities that are responsible, it's also the local administration, the local cops that should have made sure that in such a small temple premises, firstly, there's not if there is such a large gathering, who have they taken permission from? And as far as fireworks are concerned, why are they being treated like child's play? There have been so many accidents with fireworks in the past. How is it that the authorities just didn't bother to at least be there and check the premises properly?
No, absolutely. I absolutely resonate the thoughts that has been presented by Sahai on the, the kind of callousness that the temple authorities and district administration authorities have towards such temple festivities. First of all, our prayers are with the victims of the tragedy that just took place in Kanangad and Kasaragod. But this is not one-off tragedy because there are almost 100 fire incidents that happen annually in Kerala, and most of it are centered around temple festivities, especially around the Trishul Puram time and all. And there are several temples in Kerala which have many festivals, just like the one that happened in Kanangad. The Theyyam festival is a very and regular festival. It's a part of the culture over there. So therefore, we have to we have to introspect after such a tragedy has happened. How does one prevent such tragedies from happening in future? This calls for a comprehensive training of the Devasam board officials, the temple management authorities, district of administration officials. We presume that they have such trainings given as part of their curriculum, but nevertheless it needs to be upgraded, needs to be updated, and also perhaps the national guidelines on the use of firecrackers in festivities and the maintenance of safety protocols, like the distance norm which was violated in the temple. So these are small temples, but then the kind of tragedy that can kind of emerge from these even such small festivals is huge. Just like almost 150 people injured and so many fatalities reported. So this is a real cause of concern and not to be brushed under the carpet after this incident and after the fatalities are taken care of. But so therefore there needs to be a comprehensive review of such incidents that happen across the country, not just in Kerala, even in neighboring Tamil Nadu during the festival seasons. You have about 50 to 70 such incidents, reported annually, fire incidents alone. And this is a forewarning. Diwali is coming up, and so one needs to be absolutely, careful even during Diwali season. And this calls for national attention, I would say, not just the state attention, but also national attention on evolving advisories, evolving guidelines, strict protocols to be managed. There's a multiple stakeholder kind of a reaction, an intervention that is required. Temple authorities, district administration officials, police officials, all of them will have to come together to work out an arrangement where such incidents can be prevented. I think we can take use from the way planning is done in temples like where Kash, there's a lot of rejuvenation work does happen in Kashi. So we have to look at temples as places where
Okay, we seem to have lost that line with Vinita Hariharan. We will try to bring her back. Anurag Naidu, I want to understand from you, same question. How do we ensure that it's not just the temple authorities that are merely held responsible, but it's the local administration that must also be held accountable for what's happened, including the local cops of the area whose responsibility should have been to really do a thorough check of the premises? And do
Absolutely.
a proper, and an investigation must be done on who really checked the premises, and if they were checked and there was some sort of perhaps under the table money exchange that has taken place to keep the mouths of authorities shut. All of that needs to be looked into. This can't be simply a blast that has taken place and tomorrow we move on.
Yes, you are right. I think prima facie, like Mr. Sai also mentioned, yes, the permissions were not in place. The protocols at a district level and a system level were not followed. It's all fine, but to rub under the carpet and say that, okay, this looks like, or maybe it is one of such incidents where the crackers were kept in a very tight space and it all just bursted all of a sudden and everything. But I think our approach should be more Japanese in this way, irrespective of what we see. I think there should be a high level committee, maybe headed by the district collector, because he knows a lot of background already. And I think this needs to be investigated from scratch on what exactly happened, why it happened, what led to it. Maybe there is a mischief angle. I'm not saying terrorism or any other heavy words, but maybe a mischief angle, or maybe you never know what it is. And also it it gives you an indication on where these crackers were sourced, why it were sourced. Of course, protocols are one place, and of course the cops also. You're right, very right. It's easy to say, yeah, you've not approached with permission, but when there is such a huge gathering, And cops at every level has their own intelligence. Intelligence is not always IB. Even at the village level, the cops know what's happening, and it is the responsibility of from a constable to at any level to flag flag off if something wrong is happening. And in such cases, of course, when you see crackers at a large scale, mismanagement around, I would say that suo moto could have been taken. And of course, yes, the local police could have been more vigilant. But having said that, we also need to, and let's not forget, India as a country, we have come a long way in terms of improving the quality of crackers. We have improved in terms of our systems. We improved in terms of, now you have a lot of branded stuff out there with a lot of certifications. But still, I think we still have a way to go. There are things which you cannot track. Now, crackers are essentially explosives, right? So there are still, if you go to a cracker shop, no matter how big or small, you still do your billings in cash, or it's still offline stuff. Things cannot be tracked, where it's getting sourced from, where the raw material is coming from. It's still by and large a very unorganized sector. And in times like Diwali, we open up, give away, I don't know how it's licensed or something, but we do see a lot of unauthorized outlets even in gullies and mohallas. So I think these are something that we need to systematically bring things together and link this together, so that our sourcing is quite in place, so that the government or the system knows from where the explosive, these are also explosives, right? So where it is getting sourced, these are the learnings that we can take from such incidents, right? So you don't need to really plan a huge bomb, but you can also do from things that are available in the market. These are perfect example of how district administration and administrators, IAS and IPS and officers who are safeguarding our lives and who are taking care of the system can take away.
No, Anurag, as you've pointed out that this is a much more serious matter. This is not simply firecracker burning gone wrong, because today there are people who are injured, and say less than 1/10 of them are critically injured. But as Mr. Sai also pointed out, 80% burns in about 10 people or so reported from Kerala. That's a very, very serious injury, and hopefully, of course, everyone's prayers are with them and with their families at this point in time. But the only reason why some of these people are still alive is probably because the crowd was still maintaining a distance from where the fireworks were being displayed. Imagine if the crowd was much closer to this shed which has exploded. There is no way that the people close to it would have made it out alive. Anurag Naidu.
Come again? The last line?
Anurag, what I'm saying is that the reason why the injuries are what we're looking at right now, that about between 8 to 10 people are critically injured, have 80% burns, which is a huge, by the way, percentage as far as burns are concerned. But the rest are also injured, getting treated. The reason why we're looking at injuries at this magnitude right now is simply because the crowd was still standing a little bit away from where the blast took place. Not too many people were too close to that shed. But imagine, as you've pointed out, that imagine if more people were in fact very close to the actual site, they probably would not have made it out alive at all. Simply because nobody has passed away during this incident can't be a reason for us to turn our heads the other way and simply deem this as, like I said, firecracker burning gone wrong.
Yeah, I think you made a very good point. These are, this people who are critically ill with 80% of the burn. You never know. I mean, I really wish for them. I pray for them. They come out safely. But I also have a concern with why we discuss and the systems and the administrations in India. When I speak to a lot of officers and everything, the value of life in India is going down by every passing day. We feel 10 people, 20 people losing life is no big deal, or we feel people getting injured is just normal thing because we have such large population. We don't want to discuss about it openly, but that's a fact of the matter. And that is something we have learned even during the COVID. We've seen a lot of insensitive remarks being passed by the politicians and officers because maybe they feel that internally. But what we have to learn is We cannot, just by rubbing such instances off, we lose very critical clues that could probably help us in redefining and redeveloping our systems and making it much stronger, so that we don't reoccur into this situation. We don't do a follow-up, we don't have an action. And that's why I said, instead of we saying that, yeah, it looks like some crackers we put together and there was a blast, but no, we don't know. But this has to be investigated from the scratch. Who kept it? Where was sourcing? Let's get out whatever maximum. If tomorrow, just imagine, Kerala by nature is also a very sensitive state. All the foreign involvement, I don't want to take names, but all the, involvement, whether it is communal, whether it is terrorism, there are a lot of links internationally linked to Kerala. And it's a very sensitive space, religiously, national security point of view, everything. Maybe a new pattern, something that we, it comes out of this investigation. Who knows that you don't need to really go out and look out for explosive. Who knows, there's one more way you can actually build an explosive from your local sourcing. Who knows, there are new ideas. People who are not well-wishers of the country are thinking about it. These are the things we will only get into when we think from an open mind and not come to jump into conclusions and try to close the issues.
And also not, Mr. Sanjay Sai, I want to bring you back to the conversation. A very important point there raised by Anurag Naidu, who says that it should be, this incident must be viewed, or rather this tragedy must be viewed as an opportunity for us to relook at many aspects, but also he raised a pertinent point: where exactly are the firecrackers coming from? We've had a very long conversation on firecrackers for many years now as far as pollution in North India is concerned. Delhi's placed a ban on them, but unfortunately the moment you raise this matter, it becomes very personal and unfortunately very religious for people out there. They have started equating, a lot of people, Diwali with firecrackers. So if you say anything about firecrackers, people start thinking that you're trying to target Diwali and Diwali celebrations, and you're trying to target Hindus. How do we break away from this mindset and understand that firecrackers and the industry itself continues to be, as Anurag also pointed out, highly unorganized and also operating illegally in many states, which is what perhaps results in poor quality of firecrackers and then such accidents taking place. I'm not even going into foul play here at this point in time, that could there be a major conspiracy that has taken place. I'm not even getting into that. I'm getting into simply just us being able to have an open and fair conversation about the firecracker industry. If it is so crucial to people today, the ability to burst crackers, why should we not be looking into who's making them, how are they making them, what are the industry standards that they're following? Because like I said, the magnitude of the blast that has taken place really makes one wonder whether these were just firecrackers, simple festival type firecrackers that were being stored in that tin shed.
If I take your thought process a little further, so I think we are thinking on the lines of, say, sand mafia or the iron ore mafia. As far as this present incident is concerned, there is certainly a need to get into understanding the whole firecracker supply chain, organized, disorganized, or criminally organized, outside the purview of our laws, or how much of it is inside the purview of the law. Firecracker necessarily is not only to the firecracker level, because at some point in time you will reach the explosive level, and then the whole accounting of the explosive which comes and the way it is used. So unless we understand the supply chain end to end and which particular components part or phases of that particular supply chain is broken, and also the methodologies to redo that supply chain and bring it to a level wherein there is supervision, accountability and regulation from end to end. There is absolutely no denying the fact, and I will not take it any further. I will only be able to tell you that this is a black box. That all of us would agree, and the complete unorganized sector, primarily in every area, is a black box. This needs to be unraveled, this needs to be opened, more so because here explosives are involved. So that there is certainly an opportunity whether the investigation or the government will go to that particular level or get into slumber once again is a different question altogether. The second point is whether the district authorities, the temple authorities and all the stakeholders, are they all on the same page or not? So generally what happens that the district authorities will give you some permission and that fellow carries the letter. It's like a blank check that they can do anything as long as they are able to get a permission from the police or from the revenue authorities. In an operational thing, in a preparation of the nature which we are talking about, there is a necessity that on a day-to-day basis they remain on the same page, interact and see to it that everything happens in the manner it is desired and the manner it should be without any chance, slightest of chance of something of this nature happening. Thirdly, all these festivals are known, all these temple celebrations are known, and the whole geography of the temple, that is also known. If all these can be studied properly and technology be used, it can clearly be hard-coded that these temples can do only this amount of firecracker display, whether this temple is fit enough to have a storage or not, and that can be coded as good as law. Until unless we hard code this, these 700 odd incidents which are picked up somewhere from the public domain in last 2 decades, I think it is the scariest thing which I can imagine of as an ex-police officer. So broadly, this is where we stand. But we should look into one more point, whether these temple authorities are in a habit of not taking permission at all. So you're talking about this year. Last 10 years, if they are not taking permission, then in Kollam after 2016, have they been taking permission? How have the authorities reacted to it? How has the temple management reacted to it? These temples have huge amount of clout, let me tell you. And they can literally write roughshod over everybody. Correct? So if the pressure is exerted from the district authorities, they know how to withstand the pressure and get over it. So my simple point is, whether these regulations, whether these licenses, permissions, approvals, supply chain which we are talking about, has it ever been done? And if it has been done, has it been done only for namesake?
Okay.
So these are open-ended questions. Criminal investigation will take place. These 8-10 people will get charge sheeted. They will face the music of law, but they are not the only criminal stakeholders to this whole game. There are many, many more people who are constitutionally, legally mandated, socially mandated to deliver what is desirous of them, what is legally expected out of them. So that also needs to happen. Otherwise, we'll keep getting into this rigmarole over and over again.
Right, absolutely. I've unfortunately run out of time, but I thank all of our panelists for joining us to take this very, very crucial conversation forward.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.